why are you podcasting?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know someone else locally, Seth Lejeune, shout out. He's got a real estate podcast where he talks to consumers, the Moving Sucks podcast. So literally, he wants to talk to the buyer, talk to the seller, talk to the landlord, the investor, and he's educating them on real estate things that he's knowledgeable of, that he's done, that he's got an opinion on. So, like, that's his vibe. But, like, for me, it's like, I'm in Philadelphia market too. I'm a real estate agent. I'm not talking to those people. Now, it doesn't mean they're not listening. Like, I have friends and family that might want to buy or sell real estate, and it is a form of lead gen that leads back to my business. But that's not necessarily my audience. My audience is the business owner, the real estate agent, insurance agent, small business owner, who's looking, as you said, for that boots on the ground knowledge, someone who's done it, practitioner, technician, whatever you want to call it, and then also someone who's done it to some degree of success.
Young Junk!
Hey everybody, this is Jason Ostrowski, and welcome to another episode of the Everything Real Estate Podcast. Today's episode is a must listen if you've ever thought about starting your own podcast as a real estate agent, but you weren't quite sure where to begin. We're diving deep into practical tips, real-world lessons, and the strategies that can make your podcast better and your life a whole lot easier when it comes to launching and growing a podcast. And I've got the perfect guest today to talk about all things podcasting. I'm joined by my special guests, Tim Garrity and Sean Mooney, hosts of the wildly popular Bricks and Risk podcast. These guys have put in the reps, 120 episodes, a loyal audience, and a brand built the right way through consistency, smart marketing, and showing up week after week. If you're serious about building your voice, creating opportunities, and using podcasting as a real growth lever in your business, this is one episode you don't want to miss. So let's get right into the conversation with Tim Garrity, Sean Mooney, the Bricks and Risk podcast. I am really excited today because I am on the other end of the podcast today. It's almost like one of those Scooby-Doo Harlem Globetrotter crossovers,
Old school.
Yeah, old school, man. I'm here today with my boys from Bricks and Risk podcast. And I got to tell you, I'm so happy to have you both on here because we're going to talk about a topic that we all love, right? Number one, we rarely get to talk about. Number two. And then number three, you guys do such a fantastic job that I think your podcast is the template for anybody within the real estate sphere, the insurance sphere, whatever sphere, to start a podcast, know what it takes to actually grow that podcast, to make it accessible to people, to saturate the market with your brand, like all the things that it takes to run a successful podcast. Number one. I said I think it was on number 4 at this
Really
point.
appreciate those kind words about it.
Yeah, man. But
very humbling.
And I truly, truly mean it. And I think agents need to know, or for anybody who is looking to start a podcast, they need to know what goes into it because it's not easy. It's just like our business, right? It's like what you put into it is what you get out of it.
100%.
And I want to start by asking you, because you've been doing podcasting now a little over 2 years. What originally motivated you to start the podcast in the real estate and insurance side? Let's talk about how you kind of teamed up and got together and made this happen.
Tim, tee it up.
Sure. I've told the story many times. But first and foremost, thanks for having us, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
This is great.
And for us, it was summer of 23. We were on the phone. To keep a long story short, we learned on that call how much we both liked podcasts. Like, I think maybe we had kind of known loosely, but we didn't know. And then we started BSing about that. I was on a podcast, and then Mooney said, you should do one because I think you'd be pretty good. And I told him I would never do it alone. And then I said, wait, dude, like, you've been running a business for over 10 years, and I've been running a real estate brokerage at the time, a couple years less than you. I was like, dude, we got great stories. We're Philly guys. Like, would you do that? And he was like, I think I would totally do that, but we have to, like, talk about it and map it out. So he was, like, a little bit more like, let's
I think I said
Let's
no
sit
initially.
down.
I think I was like, nah.
Well, that's typically how I respond to things, Mr. Half Empty.
Wait. Sorry, you just put a hat on. I thought you were going hatless.
Nah. I
Come on,
couldn't.
like I look over.
The temptation was too much.
All right, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah.
So we started chatting about it, and then to your point, we took a few months to kind of map it out. Like we met up at coffee shops, and we started writing things down on a Google Doc, and who are we talking to? What are we talking about? What's the name? Like, how are we gonna do it? And then after we really mapped it out, we started in October of 2023 is when we started here at Young Junk. Shout out to Young Junk. And we've been here ever since.
Yeah, so it was the genesis of it was we both like love podcasts, devoured podcasts. Like it became like such an integral part of our life, and we just would go through them like, what do you like? What do you like about going back and forth? And then it was talking about starting our show, and it's like, all right, well, what show do you like, and what can we pull from that show to kind of put in a way that we can have our spin on that show and what we like about that show.
Yeah, I want to dive a little deeper on that. Like what shows did you gravitate towards? Because I'll tell you, like, same as you.
Yep.
I used to listen to a ton of podcasts. I love podcasting from, it's an inception, but really got really into it probably around 2015, 2016. I really started listening on the regular. And I think shout out to Crossing Broad. Of course, Philly sports guy. Like, I'm going to gravitate towards Philly sports first.
Yep.
But I thought they were doing a great job. I would always listen to them daily. And I would listen to not only kind of how they structurally comprised everything, but also just the modulation of their voice, how they ask questions, how they would lead into the conversation. Now, they were like you both. I think there was 3 of them on it at the same time.
Yeah.
Going into this and being a solo podcaster, it's a little bit different.
A little different.
But let's talk about like what shows did you gravitate towards that really got you kind of inspired to start the podcast?
So half of my time was insurance podcasts, believe it or not.
Trying to make your insurance business
Mr.
better.
Excitement over
Yeah.
here.
It's very sexy. Very sexy.
Extremely.
So it was that, but then I would listen to like there's other ones that were not like kind of business related, like Tim Ferriss kind of stuff.
Yeah.
More like book related, like, authors or
Stuff like that. So I would really just get into this rhythm of like business podcast and listening to them talk about starting a business. Like the one I love was Guy Raz, and he's like the NPR podcaster, and it's How I Built This. And it is the podcast of like a serial entrepreneur and how it started. And like, he's had so many, if you pick an industry like fashion and technology, like it doesn't matter. And they have this start to finish of like how it all, behind a desk, in a garage or whatever it might have been, to like, oh yeah, we did like, 500 million last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can see that trajectory of the business. But kind of what I loved was the interview. Like I loved Guy's perspective of creating a story from that business and walking the listener through it with like the questions and the follow-ups and then chopping it through and the music and the overlay, like all the pieces that go in and that final product. I'm like, oh my God, I like you're compelled to listen to it.
Were you ever like comms guys? Like there at one point in time in my life, I was thinking about going into communications. Like I really wanted to kind of be behind a microphone. I wanted to do sports broadcasting at one point in time in my life. That kind of fell by the wayside. But I feel like here's this medium where you can pick up a microphone and make it your own, whatever you want it to be, right?
And create.
So, Tim, what do you think is the biggest misconception that people may have about starting a podcast?
I actually think that's probably it. is like it's so like you can just take your phone and you could set it up in front of you and you could record a podcast if you have an iPhone, a quality one.
Yeah.
Also, like you can DIY it. You can get your own quality camera and set that up. You can come in a studio like Young Junk. And there's so many people who have aspirations of just sharing what they know or sharing their perspective or their opinion or teaching people or whatever it is that they're trying to do. What I think gets missed, which I love that we're talking about this, is the follow through, the commitment, the runway that it takes to not only like get in the rhythm of getting good at podcasting, which takes reps. We're way better at it now than we were 2.5 years ago. And also in the fact like people are just inconsistent. Like someone will do it like a couple times a week and they're like, oh, I don't have enough time for that. Then I'll do it once a week. I don't have enough time for that. I'll do it once a month. And then it's once every 3 months and then you never see them again.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like the story of podcasting. 90+% of people, basically like 99% of people will not get past episode 20. And about 90% will fail after 3. So with those stats in mind, I think people tend to just jump right in because they're like, I got something to say. I feel like I'm good at this. I've always wanted to do that. And I love that you have that passion. But I feel like before you do that, especially if you're going solo, because the only person who's going to hold you accountable is yourself. You go solo, is who am I talking to? What am I talking about? How often am I going to do it? Where am I going to do it? Like, how much does it cost? Like, what's the purpose of this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Am I here to like get fans? Am I here to get business? Am I here to help people, more relationships? Like whatever you're trying to do, you should really figure those things out before you ever get on a mic, because then once you get on the mic, you know where you're going and you know how often you're doing it.
I think you bring up an excellent point, because I think when I was starting this out, I knew what the purpose I had was. And I've told this story several times to agents. They said, I often get asked, what made you start a podcast? Well, I was in management at one point in time, and my agents, we had a training center that was, not around the corner. And at the time, before COVID, we were still bricks and mortar, and we were going to this training area out in Berwyn.
Oh, wow.
And I was in Jenkintown. And so my agents would say, I'm not heading out there. I'm just not doing it. It's too far. And so I wanted to come up with something where we could educate, our agents and not have them have a built-in excuse as to why they're not going to train. Like they can listen on the go, they can listen in the car, they can listen at home,
Yep.
and make it educational and about the business. And that was really, all right, that's my structure, right? Everything is going to be educational. That's my niche. And so we're going to interview agents that are, doing it, that are successful, that are making it happen, that are creative, that are coming up with unique and interesting solutions to problems in the industry, right? Yep. And that's the niche. And so, Sean, I want to ask you and Tim, when you're choosing a niche, how important is that to the podcast success, right? And what you're doing? Because if you keep it too broad, may be an issue, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. A business podcast is a little different. I think that, if you're talking Philadelphia sports, it's like it's already pre-built in,
right.
And so when we were developing it, our strategy of what we were cooking up, right, in terms of developing the structure or the theme or the niche of ours was, we said, hey, we're business owners. There's a lot of interview style type of podcast out there, but the lane that we kind of chose was specific in that we wanted to give our listeners and watchers like real deal information. We wanted to give them kind of a blueprint as to like a how-to, how to do this within your business, right? And we wanted to provide solutions for them where we thought we were bringing some value directly to them, where if they were listening on a weekly or whatever basis, it was I could tune in and I could pick up, 1 or 2 or 3 different things that I might be able to implement within my business that would help. So that's kind of where we kind of landed in terms of ours. But I think it is important to really be narrow in that, where you have to really get specific on what you're going to be talking about, what you plan to deliver, and what type of value you're bringing to your listeners. So if you have that subset in mind, I think that's, a good way to go about it in terms of leading to success.
Do you agree with that, Sam?
I totally agree. I think one thing we had when we initially started was credibility. I was building a business, had been in business at the time for over 20 years. Same with Sean. So we had the cred. We had the street cred. We had the cred you could look up online. Like, we had all that. We had the knowledge.
Well, battle scars too,
True.
right?
Yeah.
So we had the
Entrepreneurs.
credibility, but we've been through a lot. We've seen a lot, and we know what to do and what not to do.
And you have that knowledge to convey, right?
Right.
So you have that message part of it. I think one thing that really kind of stuck out to me, Tim, you and I were on a podcasting event with Tri-County Suburban Realtors, right?
That's how we started rapping, man.
And
It's
so,
awesome.
and that's how we got to know each other. I look you up. I look at the brand. I look at what you're putting out, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I got to step up my game. Like, seriously.
That is super flattering.
No, I mean this sincerely, because I'm running a podcast out of my basement at this point. I got cats that are coming in the shot. I'm like, I really need to do a better job
To help you
with
go
this.
viral.
This is the Feline Real Estate Podcast.
It's not a good
welcoming
look
everyone
when you're,
here.
when you're hosting like the CEO of Home Services of America, right?
the
So
one
I'm
that-
like,
The
I'm
tail's
like,
like crossing your chin, and you're like, oh boy.
I'm like, I really need to make it better. But I was so impressed by kind of what you said, and immediately gravitated towards what you both were putting out. And Sean and we didn't meet each other until we were actually on set. But like, I was so impressed by just your professionalism, but also your dedication to the podcast and what you do, because you both have other businesses. It's not an easy thing, but you have to approach it like it's a business. And, it's just like real estate. We always talk about your business is your business, right? It's yours. And so like you had said about podcasting, like, you have to do it consistently. It's almost like going to the gym.
Yep.
I feel like.
Same thing.
Right?
Reps.
You start going to the gym, you're going 3 days a week, you're doing great, and then suddenly you miss a session, right? You don't go once, and that gives you an excuse not to go the next week, and then suddenly you're not going anymore.
Well, also when you start going to the gym, it's not pretty.
No, it sucks.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So like it's the same in that you start in the gym, and then over time it gets a little easier.
Yep.
And then you can see over time what you're getting back from it. And it's the same thing with podcasting. Podcasting, when we came in the studio, episodes 1, 2, 3 were terrible.
Mhm.
Like we look back and we laugh.
I thought they were pretty good.
I was petrified, man.
Yeah.
I started during
It was hard.
I started
I'm not gonna lie.
during COVID, and it was like the weirdest time, because it was like high season for COVID. We had like a psychologist on for our first episode to talk about how all messed
Everyone's
up we were.
okay.
Like, we were getting weird being at home for like months on end, and talking about how that relates to the real estate business. That was great for the first 3 months to talk about. But eventually, and I was so like timid with my voice, because I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to want to listen to me. I really need. And then I learned, like, you have to modulate your voice, right? You have to have some energy when you talk, right? Or else it's going to be really boring. So it's those little tips and tricks that, like you said, you get those reps in, Sean, and you just get better at it.
Yep.
So in your opinion, should real estate agents focus more on local content or broader content? We kind of talked about this a little bit when it comes to industry topics. Real estate, Tim, I'm going to kick this to you.
Yep.
Do you recommend going with broader topics? Because there are a lot of national gurus out there that talk about the nation as a whole as it relates to real estate, big brokerage things, mergers, acquisitions, new laws. Or do you think that it's more beneficial for agents that to stick to their local market, their local area, what they know best?
I think it really just depends who you are. So, like, let's say for whatever reason, you're a real estate agent starting a podcast and you're into your market. You're a hyper-local kind of person. Like, maybe you've done some social media content, your marketing, your client events, your community building, your advertising. Like, let's say that's all centered around a local area, then I would say do hyper local content, because you're trying to attract more people to your hyper local business. But if you're thinking a little bit more like, you know what, maybe I want to talk to agents as an agent. So our podcast, I'm not really talking to consumers. I'm talking to agents. I'm talking to insurance people. I'm talking to small business owners. So for me, what I talk about are the business things that I think those people would want to hear, which could be national, local, boots on the ground, things I've done, things I haven't done. And so one, it depends on how you run your business. And then it also really depends on like, why are you podcasting? Like I know someone else locally, Seth Lejeune, shout out. He's got a real estate podcast where he talks to consumers, the Moving Sucks podcast. So literally he wants to talk to the buyer, talk to the seller, talk to the landlord, the investor, and he's educating them on real estate things that he's knowledgeable of, that he's done, you know, that he's got an opinion on. So like that's his vibe. But like for me, it's like I'm in Philadelphia market too. I'm a real estate agent. I'm not talking to those people. Now it doesn't mean they're not listening. Like I have friends and family that might want to buy or sell real estate, and it is a form of lead gen that leads back to my business. But that's not necessarily my audience. My audience is the business owner, the real estate agent, insurance agent, small business owner who's looking, as you said, for that boots on the ground knowledge, someone who's done it, practitioner, technician, whatever you want to call it, and then also someone who's done it to some degree of success. So it's like, not only do you do it, but like you did it, like you've built something.
Yeah, like here's the blueprint, right?
Exactly.
And I do feel like the biggest mistake that I see agents making out there is they make it more about them, or they make it more about their team and what they're doing. I mean, you know, no offense to anybody, but nobody cares about that, right?
Agreed.
You better have a topic that's going to have some longevity and some evergreen content to it, right? That people can go back and say, you know what, this guy that I had on the podcast was doing it this way. I'm going to try that because that's a real creative solution, right? Sean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of times you're online looking and you're looking for answers. I think, you know, people, whether you know, you're fixing your home or you're looking for a realtor or any of those things, right? You're looking for the answer. And you, as a real estate agent, talking about you and your team and what you've done is not quite the way to connect and get engagement with potential clients. I think you have to speak to them in a way that is answering their questions, right? Like, why would they want to work with you? They'd want to work with you because look at what our previous clients have done, right? Or how you've helped those clients, right? It's not about you and the awards and how much you sold. It's
providing value. It's like, stop talking about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants to talk about themselves in some way, shape, or form, but this isn't about you. If you're going to podcast, it's about them. It's about the audience. That's why you should do it. If you're just there to talk about yourself, just open up your phone and put it on social media. There's no reason to podcast.
I think some of the most valuable content you'll find is, right, so like we had a client and, you know, they ran into a problem at the 11th hour and we were able to do this, and build a strategy around there. I think that's one of the best pieces of content that real estate agents can do, because it's showing clients like how you're valuable without you saying like, oh, look at me, I'm
selling
valuable.
without selling, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally agree with that. Also, I want to get some great ideas too. Like selfishly,
Hell yeah.
part of the podcast that I love is like I can take away some great ideas
Do the same
from
thing.
these you know, successful people that are doing some really cool stuff. I know that you both, we talked about this, that you started in the studio, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were running this out of like your garage or basement. So I wanted to get into like equipment and things to start a podcast, because I know for me, like I had a real cheap microphone when I started. It was, I think, like an Audio Technica. It was like $100, had the pop screen. Now we're in a studio with really nice microphones, really nice monitors, but I was recording over Zoom. I don't know if you want to touch upon anything when it comes to, you know, getting started. When you're first in the studio, or even when you're doing it outside of the studio, what kind of like stuck out to you both? Like, oh my God, we're in a studio and we're recording.
Yeah.
And how does this work? You know, just the fundamentals of podcasting. Let's talk about that. What has changed over the years? What have you learned from podcasting? Like, what are some tips if someone's starting out? What would you say? Don't forget to do blank, right? What would either one of you could pick
I
up?
would say, like, do it and start. Because if
Get a
there's
green microphone cover.
yeah. No, but seriously, it like, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. Like, get started, get going.
Mhm.
And over time, like we learned, you start it and then you start to feel your way through it, and you like what you like, and there's some improvements and upgrades that you're like, oh, we should do this, we should do that. And that kind of builds over time. So I would say anyone that's out there thinking about doing a podcast and just thinking about ways to build a personal brand is do it. Get started. If it is an iPhone and you're doing Zooms, like, who cares? At least you're out there doing it. And then over time, you'll find that, oh, I like this. Oh, I don't like that sound. So let me spend a little more money and get a better microphone.
Mhm.
And, you'll find that over time, maybe it's, your 20th episode, you change it and you like it. So that's what I would say is that, yes, there's always going to be better equipment. There's always going to, you can always move to the studio, but getting that foundation of getting started, getting disciplined to commit to the idea of doing it, and then start to formulate, oh, I like this, I don't like this, and build the equipment as you go.
I agree. I think it's like I always bring everything back to real estate, but the practice of getting better at real estate is just by doing real estate, right?
Yep.
Like,
That's the most important thing.
get out there and just do it. Throw your hat in the ring. Like, everybody started, and most people were not that great at podcasting when they started,
Yep.
right? It's something that you have to get better at. And as far as equipment goes, like you said, Sean, like, it's as simple as, and I'll just throw out a couple things for agents that are thinking about starting. Get out there, get a microphone with a pop screen. You can record over Zoom like I was doing, and then you can throw it into GarageBand, which usually, people have Apple products. That's going to come with the Mac that maybe you have learned how to use that.
Or Riverside.
Or
So
Riverside,
it gives you
right?
that
Yeah,
video
yeah.
platform with
Yep.
the audio, so it's built in one. So if you are doing Zooms, that's a great platform that you can easily fire it up.
Yep.
And you're right there. So that's a
And then think about the hosting site that you're going to be on, right? So I'm on Libsyn. What are you guys on? Are you guys on
Buzzsprout?
Buzzsprout.
So Buzzsprout is probably the most popular hosting site, but you got to think about that as well.
Are you doing audio only? Are you doing video?
All right,
Exactly.
so-
Yeah.
So let me weigh in on this. I'm gonna do my Bill Lumberg because I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Bring it in.
Number one
Mm.
is this thing right here, the microphone, because not everyone watches podcasts. Actually, I don't even know what the percentages are, but we actually probably have more people on Apple
Yep.
listening to our show than people on Spotify, where we have video, and on YouTube.
Yeah.
And because of that, Apple, it doesn't have video. So Apple's all
They do. but-
well, yes, it's coming, it's here. Mooney's already on top of it. He's already got a strategy. But think about the listeners first, because how did podcasts start? Listening. It was all listening. You weren't visually digesting it. But then over time, what happened? People are like, look, if we're going to record our voices, we should record what we're doing. And that makes it a show, which is what podcasting has become. It's become like a show, a form of entertainment media where people are getting everything. And so the microphone, couple $100, gets you this banger of a microphone. You can still open your laptop. You can still plug your mic, your Shure mic, into your laptop and go to Riverside and spend $20-$30 a month on a streaming platform where you can talk to anyone in the world.
Yeah.
They could be 2 blocks away. They could be 2 countries away. And you can still do all that. Because one thing I will say, as much as I want people to go out and do it, I want you to think about what you're doing, because you're never going to get a second chance at a first impression. Like, the first impression that we got when we hit the street with our show was, your production quality is really effing good. It's what a lot of people, and we were like, for real? Like, we were just like kind of taking it for granted. Like, thanks to Young Junk for all that.
Immediately, that's the first thing that stuck out to me, and I was like, I want that.
Yeah, but
You know what I mean? Like,
we would get they'd be like, you actually you have a show,
yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
You mean the
like,
Tim and Sean show?
Honest to God, and then like I check you guys out on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, they have like a legit show.
Thanks,
Like
man.
it's crazy. So I think the biggest thing with you both is your consistency.
That's
to
it.
me, not only in recording, not only in releasing episodes, but also your branding. So how do you stay so consistent recording, releasing episodes, getting guests, because scheduling always becomes the thing, right?
Yeah.
You guys are very proficient in all that. So that's another component about podcasting, right? If you're going to do it, you got to think about who's going to be the guest. How far out are we scheduling this? How are we getting them on the books? How are we making sure that we're releasing episodes on a consistent basis? You guys are great at that. So
Thanks.
how when you started the podcast, were you always proficient in that? Did that take time? How did that kind of come about and get kind of to where it is today for you both?
Pretty much always proficient from the start. So the one thing we did, so we were talking about the Inman article that I
Yes.
wrote recently about podcasting.
Yeah.
And one of the tips I gave on there was banking content.
Yes.
It's just like if you get into real estate, you get insurance, like save some money before you do it because you're going to be broke for a while and then you're going to want to get out. But if you save some money, it'll get you through the tough time. So the one thing I said in the Inman article was if you're going to be a weekly show, then you want 12 episodes because you want to bank 3 months of content so that you're constantly staying ahead of it, whether it's just yourself, whether it's all guests, or whether it's a hybrid of both, which is what we do. You need to stay ahead of it to be consistent, because if you fall behind, you will get out of it because you're just like, I lost
Never gonna
my
catch up.
thing.
It's a lot.
I
Yeah.
lost my vibe. I lost my mojo. People are probably upset. You're thinking of other people. They probably don't like that I missed. And like, you just get in your own head.
Yeah.
So if you're every week, you need 12 episodes. If you're every month, you need 3. Stay 3 months ahead of it. Like if you could do 6, I mean, you're a superstar. If you could do 4 or 5, like again, you're awesome. If you do like 1 or 2 episodes and you just jump into it and you release the first one, now you're in. Like you're in now. And if you're going to be consistent, you're kind of going to be like in a boat with a hole, with a bucket, just going like this. Like you're going to stay afloat, but you're never going to stop doing this.
It's nerve-wracking when you don't have that content.
Brutal. And we've been there. We have been down to like our last drop, and we're like, we got to get in there. We got to pound out 3 today. We got to pound out 2, 3 more.
Well, you talk about like stacking your episodes, right? And you were potentially, Sean, you got kind of pulled away today, but you were planning on doing this episode and you were going to do 2 more today.
Yeah.
To have that content. So like for agents out there that are super busy, if you're going to look into this, you're going to do this, you may want to stack your episodes and have multiple guests on
and
the
dedicate
same
a day.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say get into a rhythm of recording or interviewing and however you want to do it. You want to do it weekly. You want to find the day that works. Like you always have a best of weeks, whatever best day in the week that you have like a little bit of free time. Take that block and then do it and put it on like a repetitive motion. That way you just kind of know it's coming and you have it blocked on your schedule and it's there.
I got to tell you, I know you guys record on Thursdays.
Thursdays.
It's kind of weird for me because I'm a Wednesday guy.
Yeah.
So like,
You're like, I feel
like
off
being
today.
here. Yeah, I do. I kind of feel off today, right? So, all right. So let's talk about your episodes and you've put.
Let me go back. Can I go back?
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Sean.
you
Yeah, my
asked
bad.
you asked about like the process of like interviewing and getting guests and
Yeah. Consistency.
well, at first it was very difficult to manage the scheduling and the booking and trying to line up our schedule with the interviewee and the studio. So we were kind of all over the place and kind of we learn by what doesn't work and then we try to find the solution to find what does work. So everyone out there, what we learned, one tip was that we drastically changed the way we did it. Instead of trying to do that volley back and forth and try to like line that up.
Pick a date.
Yeah. what we did was if we had someone in queue where we were like, hey, we want to interview you, we send out a form for them to fill out first. So now the ball's in their court, right? Because we have a lot of people reaching out, hey, I want to be on your show. I want to be a guest. Okay, great. Fill this out. That's the first step.
You don't fill it out,
we're not having you on the show.
We're not. Yeah. We need to have that.
So
first.
that way, it's a little bit of buy-in on them that they have to like take the responsibility to do that, and then we have those banked. So then once we have a list of like 10 or 12 people, then we can start to line up our schedule with who we already know.
It's a great idea.
Is already basically in the hopper. Did the first part of the interview process. Now we know on Thursdays, so then we start to line up our Thursdays for the month. And so that has been a way that we've changed our approach that has dramatically helped.
So much better.
It's like getting your guests pre-qualified.
Yes.
It really is.
It's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I remember filling out that form when I was on with you guys a few months back, and I think it's a great idea. Absolutely, positively helps to sort out the schedule, helps you guys, helps them. There's no downside to it.
You need to find ways to build efficiencies in when you're podcasting. And
yeah, it's like a pipeline. You're building a pipeline.
Real estate people, the schedules can be a little hairy all over the place.
Insurance people too.
So finding those efficiencies is going to benefit you immensely.
100%. I think that's a great point, and I think that is an underrated portion of podcasting. When you get started and you're doing it, it's great if you record like you had said, Tim. Try to have 3 months worth of content.
Yep.
At least have, I would say 4 to 6 episodes recorded before you ever release that podcast. It's just easier for you to hit the ground running, and you can keep going in perpetuity after you have them. So I want to ask you, what types of episodes work best for you? What gets the most eyeballs or the most listens for you? Is it interviews? Is it solo episodes? Do you find something that works best for you in terms of style? Like I have my episodes that I call my eat my vegetable episodes, where like we're talking about like homeowners insurance, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the ins and outs of title
Good way to
insurance.
put it.
You're not going to get a ton of listens on them, but it's like the eat your vegetables. You need to know this, right?
Yes.
So what kind of episodes work best for you?
I'm going to go first because I know my co-host here is going to respectfully disagree with me.
I am.
We were
I don't
just
know what you're going to
talking.
say, but I will disagree.
We were just talking yesterday, and we were like, Mooney made the point. He's like, we are literally 180 degrees apart. Like, you're always here, and I'm always here. And then we find a way to take both ideas and, like, merge them together into something, like, really great, which is awesome.
Like a sandwich.
But, talking about the types of episodes, we have two. We have a topical, which is just the two of us rapping about business or something, motivational or philosophical or, it's tactical. And then we have a guest episode where that's really focused on the guest. Our job is to, like, bring in a guest, and as Mooney has said, extract as much as we can out of that guest that we know will benefit our audience. Like, that is, like, the whole reason we talk to guests. So what I will say is, from a viewer-listener standpoint, the guest episodes usually do better, and they even do better if they're local guests. Like, we've had some national guests, we've had international people, and, like, they do well, but then we have, like, super hyper local people running small businesses or agents or whoever, and they absolutely crush because their parents are listening, their neighbors are listening, their clients are listening, the agents that work with them, their workers, whatever they're doing, and everyone, like, loves it, and everyone's, like, chatting about it, like, oh, you talked to Bill, you talked to Sally, and those absolutely crush. But I would say my personal favorite, like, what I like to do, I like doing the topicals with the two of us because I feel like that's our opportunity to teach and, like, add value to small business owners. Mm-hmm. And then the guest ones, again, it's more for the guests, and then we know the audience likes it too. But for, like, the practitioners, the technicians, like the eat your vegetables, I think the topicals I like the best because I feel like we're teaching something. We're talking about like a hard to discuss topic.
I think, Tim, you and I are very similar in that way. I love to teach. That's why I had gotten into management years ago. Like, I love just like getting in there, collaborating, telling people what I've learned from the business, learning from other people. Sean, how about you? Because Tim probably is spot on. You probably are 180 in the other direction, but
I totally disagree. Here's what I'll say. This is a great opportunity for me to say that we had Ryan Serhant on our show.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Ryan Serhant.
We had him on right before he went on Netflix. Was it right before his show aired?
I think he wrote his second book or something.
So my claim to fame was like, listen, he was able to get on Netflix.
We talked
he did
to
Bricks and Bricks. That was what I said.
It's a stepping stone for sure.
It was a total dud of a show.
Interesting.
No offense, Ryan.
No, he's great, but in terms of performance,
yes,
for our podcast, in terms of where it falls in the laddering
overall, the whole big circle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great reminder is to like shoot for those. Like those are great. Like they're awesome to have and like a feather in your cap. Cool. But it's not always going to be what you expect it to be.
He was the sizzle. Like the steak is what matters.
We had other ones that my buddy Jimmy O'Neill, who is a masonry contractor.
Shout out to Jimmy O.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like one of the best performing
It's my favorite episodes. My favorite episode
that we've had. So it's not insurance. It wasn't real estate. It was just great conversation about him building his business.
Yeah.
And we loved it. And I mean, it got a lot of play on our numbers. And like, who knows, like what the real story is in terms of why that, probably his personality and accent probably led to that. But I think it's just a reminder that keep doing it. Keep doing different things, trying different things, because you never know kind of which one. Like I thought like when we had Serhant that it was going to be,
it's going to blow up. It's going to blow up
set
overnight.
match.
Yeah.
This is going to put us, and you're like waiting. You're like, download and it just never happened.
No one cared.
Yeah.
But we kind of didn't care either. We were kind of like, well, okay, like moving on.
It's not about that.
That's a great point too, because I feel like I've had guests on where I've been really, really excited, like, big time guest, and some of them are my personal heroes, real estate wise. Yeah. And some episodes you were kind of like, it's just
why did that go nowhere?
Yeah, why was it kind of like just a dud? And then you have other people on that you're just blown away by how good they are. And like you said, the conversation just flows. It feels natural. You're excited that they're there. You're getting energy from them.
Yep.
And it just goes great. I find, and I think this is an important point that you bring up, is that when you're booking a guest, someone can have knowledge, someone can be charismatic, but that doesn't mean that they're both. True. And so if your guest delivery is monotone, it's a little boring, but they really know what they're talking about, you'll still get listeners. But I find personally it's those that can combine what they're trying to convey in a charismatic way with a lot of energy, but also have that knowledge,
right?
That do the best on the show. Do you guys?
So we've found that, and I'll give one example. Ryan Hanley.
Yep. Shout out to Ryan Hanley,
who's an insurance guy. He's a professional speaker. And having him on, so very knowledgeable, built an agency, does the whole circuit of
as credible as they come in insurance.
Yeah.
But what we find was he was the combination of the two.
He was.
He was the guy who could speak, that had energy and charisma, and had the nuts and the bolts and
he had
the numbers.
The chops. Yeah,
I mean,
he had it down. Yeah.
And so when you get a guest like that, for me, it is the best, because you're not waiting. You know what I mean?
You don't have to carry the conversation.
There's a cadence when you're interviewing someone, and to have someone like that, it's kind of flawless.
Yeah.
In the way that he's able to deliver.
It's like never a dull moment.
Yeah. So to your point, yes, you can get the smart, book smart, like just a whiz in their industry, and then you can get someone who's just got a great social following that's like, wow, I can't believe we booked them. And sometimes they will overlap, but sometimes they won't. And it's a different interview when you have those two.
100%. I love the people that I can just wind up and just let them go. Like I'll ask a question, then I won't talk for like another 15 minutes.
Yep.
That makes my job incredibly easy. And usually they know what they're talking about, so I know it's going to be a good episode, you know?
And then it's just about the question, right? So,
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
building the questions
Yeah, you get really
the
good questions over
information
time.
out.
100%. 100%. I want to know, so how can new podcasters, because you guys do a great job at this, repurpose their podcast content into social media to maximize reach? Because shout out to Young Junk again, like the clips that they put out. That's what really grabbed me with your podcast was those shorts that you
burst.
have. They look great. They sound great. I'm like, I got to check these guys out. But you put them everywhere. So let's talk about just your process when it comes to putting out content. Like, where are you putting it? And I guess for consistency's sake, like, how do you go about doing it, making sure that it's out there?
Yeah, we function best by like dividing and conquering. Like, what do I like or what am I good at, and vice versa. And so for us in the beginning, Mooney was more the YouTube guy. Like he understood YouTube. It's very analytical. There's like a lot of SEO. There's like, and it's connected to Google. So that's probably the most important SEO machine that we have for our show is there in YouTube, because everything exists in YouTube. Your full episode, your shorts. You know, you can put an intro video, you can brand it, you know, you can hyperlink it. So YouTube's definitely the most important. He gravitated toward YouTube and Facebook. I'm an Instagram guy, like that's what I like, just personally and professionally. So I did Instagram, and then LinkedIn kind of just came by accident, where like I was like slowly getting back into LinkedIn at the time because there just wasn't much video content when I started doing it, and then we built a Bricks and Risk like community page, like a business page, whatever you want to call it. And we just started inviting the people in our networks, and it's almost up to 1,000 people now. So what we do is every week we get the shorts from these guys. We go Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Now he gets like weird and starts going down these channels. Like, you know, I think we have a TikTok account now. I don't even have
At Bricks and Risk on TikTok.
Nice. So he's playing with that a little bit, and he does the Opus, and he does his own Mooney homemade like in the basement shorts, like stirring it up, and then we're all drinking it. So he does things a little bit differently. I'm a little bit more by the book. I get their stuff and like very strategically like placing it in different places on social media. Like Instagram, we have a post and then we do a story. One's on the Bricks and Risk account, one's on my account, but then I'm tagging people, so then we get collaboration. So I think if you're going to have a podcast with shorts and you want to like advertise your show, you want more listeners and watchers, like nothing beats social media. I think that is the number one for engagement. But if you're looking for like a base of SEO and you want to like look as credible and professional as possible, nothing beats YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's the first place that once I saw your shorts or wherever I saw, I might have seen a reel, I might have seen a story or something on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I then went over to YouTube to check you guys out, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I want. I want more of this, you know. And I think for anybody that's thinking of starting a podcast, think in that direction, because as you said, Tim, earlier, that the video really is where everything's going now. And I know you still have the audio side to it, and for years I was just strictly audio. But now I'm like, I need to have that show aspect, and I need to have it looking good. You're kind of keeping up with where people are now, you know, and that's really to build your brand. You really need 100%. To be in all these different places. You both actually got me started on LinkedIn too.
Nice.
You had said,
I love that.
You had said to me that it was an underrated medium for putting out podcast content, which I think is one of my spaces that I absolutely make sure that I'm going to be on.
Yeah.
You know, because it's an underutilized medium. You're going where a lot of other people don't go. Would you say that, Sean?
Well, here's what I would say about that.
He completely disagrees with me.
Two things. Everybody and their mother's on LinkedIn.
True. Yes.
Okay.
And it's been around a while too.
Mm-hmm.
So when you Google someone, their first hit on their person, like Bob Adibade, LinkedIn.
He's a great guy.
Awesome. awesome realtor. If you need a house, look him up.
Mm-hmm.
You Google someone's name, LinkedIn comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on LinkedIn. What I love is that nobody plays in that pond.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When nobody plays in that pond, it creates
You can be a
such
big
an
fish.
opening for you to stand out,
Yes.
right? So like when you're on LinkedIn, I'm sure in your network nobody from a professional standpoint is putting video on LinkedIn,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
So when you're, this is what we've done with the show. We've always wanted to be like up here, right? That's why we wanted the studio, because we wanted to like be up here. We
Higher
wanted
quality.
to be different. There's 50 real estate podcasts that are out there that set up at their kitchen table and they do that, right? There's a few that go into a studio and have it. We want to be there. So with LinkedIn, it creates an opportunity where we can be there by ourselves, right? Like, what podcast is on LinkedIn putting video out,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
right? So then we become the one.
Mm-hmm.
And then how much attention are you going to get by being the one?
And I will say, from just a look and feel standpoint, I had somebody come up to me a couple days ago
Mm-hmm.
and said to me, "Wow, what you're doing with the podcast now," he said, "you have just taken
Like since you've been in here?
yeah, just
Oh, phenomenal.
huge
dude. I
leap,
love that.
a huge leap forward."
hearing
And it was just so great to hear, because I really respect him as an agent, and he knows what he's talking about. And just so if he's noticing it, I know I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and
That's
said,
so great.
"It looks so much better. It just gets that much more attention."
You're building authority.
Yes.
You are building authority. When you become the one, you are the authoritative voice in the room. And what happens when that? You grow attention,
Hey, become influential.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And so we've kind of always had that, where we want to be the one, and our focus and our drive is to be different and be the one. And then that comes down to our viewers, to our people in our network, in our sphere. And it just has an overall impact that you're not going to get if you're doing it otherwise.
It gives you a certain industrial clout, right? Like your
100%.
industry, it gives you clout right off the bat. If you look good, like, in sports, they say look good, feel good, play good, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing. Like being in here, being on a microphone, being with you guys, it just feels different than if I'm in my basement just with a random microphone
Zooming.
doing this. Yeah, zooming, right? It just feels professional, and I feel it gives off that vibe. All right, we're gonna wind it down. I want to know, and I think this is the most important question for anybody that's starting a podcast. Yeah, you want to
Let's
get your
do
message out. You want to you want to talk about this or that, and you want to influence people. Speaking of influencing people, how has podcasting impacted both of your careers? I want to know, we're going to get into one last question, but I want to know how it's impacted each of your careers in the industries you're in.
Again, we talked about this yesterday. So again, I've been in residential real estate 16 years, was in the mortgage industry for 8 years before that. So basically in business 25 years.
Terry, turn up the volume if you can right here.
Jack that up. And we were talking yesterday, and we were talking about the show and everything we got. We're already talking about next year. Like we have such a vision for this thing, and we know
You
it
guys really do.
We know it's going to go in the direction we want it to go. It's just a matter of time. And we're patient. But I said to Mooney, I was like, this is hands down the best marketing I've ever done in my life. I was a marketing major in college when I was 18 years old. I had internships that were marketing, mortgages, marketing, real estate, marketing. I ran a brokerage, marketing. I'm a believer that personal brand is where it's at. And there's no better way to amplify your personal brand than with a really well done, well thought out podcast. And that feeds every single thing that I do in my life. It feeds my real estate business, my development business. The podcast is turning into a business. And it helps my friends and family and just people in my community. I literally go to, drop my kid off at school or pick her up, and someone's like, yo, I saw that episode. Or I love Bricks and Risk. You get that now. and they're not even in business. They might be like a doctor, and they're saying this to me, and I just love it because I'm like, they wouldn't watch or listen if they didn't enjoy it. And that to me means the world, to just like put something out there. Someone's getting something out of it. It's just,
It's everything.
fuels you to keep going.
Yeah.
You might, it's like weird. You might be going in to get a colonoscopy, and the doctor might be like,
That sucked, by the way.
hey, are you the guy from Bricks and Risk?
Yeah.
That is
Well, you
true
were
story.
now.
No, it did
True
happen.
story.
Oh, did it really?
My anesthesiologist was like, "Oh yeah, Bricks and Risk. Yeah, I've seen it." I'm like, "What?"
Count backwards from 10.
Right.
Now, in your
By the way.
now, in their defense, you were probably wearing like a Bricks and Risk T-shirt as you went in for your colonoscopy.
I was wearing my gown.
Oh, did you drop a bunch of stickers on the floor?
Well,
as you,
I should have, but no. It's funny. We started we realized we knew some similar people from like growing up, and then he knew people from LaSalle High School. I was like, "Oh, you know Sean Mooney?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I actually do a podcast with him." He's like, "Oh yeah, Bricks and Risk. You're the Bricks and Risk guy."
I think it would have been a trip if you went into the room where you were getting a colonoscopy and there was an episode of Bricks and Risk on as you're getting a colonoscopy.
Like Tim, we thought you would enjoy this.
Just hear Mooney's voice and you're like, where am I? Is he in the room with you?
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's crazy, by the way. I mean, it was kind of cool just along those lines when I had started the podcast, and sometimes you feel like you're kind of yelling into the wilderness because you don't know initially how it's going to be received.
Yep.
And
6 downloads. Who are those 6 people?
Who are they?
Right? Who are
And how
those-
much did they listen to?
Who are those poor souls in the beginning that are listening to me
6
talk?
bots?
Yeah.
Or 6 people?
Exactly. So I'm out in Louisville at our convention a few years back. This was probably like four or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And standing in line at Starbucks, and I'm with a friend of mine, and we're talking, and just I don't know what we were talking. I guess we were talking about what we were going to order or whatever. And then this woman taps me on the shoulder behind me and says, "Hey, I know your voice. You're that guy. Who are you?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I host the podcast." "Oh my God, I know you." And when you get one of those, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
And I guess to use it to your advantage, I had an agent one time that was out in, I think, like the Newtown area, worked for a different brokerage, and got her on the phone, and she's like, "Hey, I know you. I know your I want to do a deal with you." I'm like, "Well,
That's cool.
by hook or by crook, let's
go.
make it happen."
Yeah,
Right? So that leads me into my last question: is that what is one unintended consequence of starting a podcast that has a huge impact on what you do every day for a living?
Sir?
Very easy on my end is that I've been approached and said that I want to do a joint venture with you, with a
It's just crazy.
big freaking company.
And
That's
a
awesome,
and a
man.
JV if people are unfamiliar with what a joint venture is, it's one business, whether big or small, wanting to connect with another
Partner.
business, big or small, to literally be in business together.
That's great. That's high praise right there.
Right.
you
So
know?
and that actually happened more than once.
That's happened a couple
Wow.
times. People have reached out to me
God.
like, "I want to talk to him about that." I was like, "Here's his info."
So
It's amazing.
So
Yeah.
to answer your question,
Mhm.
a lot of things have happened, a lot of changes, and we started the podcast saying that we wanted to have the podcast to educate people, build our network, and then the third leg of that for me was I want it to do things that I couldn't even put on paper. And that has happened. It's happened multiple times, and those conversations and those things would not have happened if I didn't have a podcast. So,
What do you think, Tim?
For me, yeah, it's just what it really taught me. So after running a brokerage for like 10 years, we actually started recording Bricks and Risk when I was still running the brokerage. Like even the early episodes, I'm still wearing Copper Hill gear. And that was a hard thing to go through. It was basically like a business divorce.
Yeah,
It was-
you and
it was
I
very
talked- you
difficult.
and I talked about
yeah,
that,
learned
yeah.
a ton from that. What it taught me is that my name and like who I am, like that brand matters. Like growing up here my whole life, like having relationships from grade school, from high school, from college, from the working world from neighborhoods. I've lived half my life in the suburbs. I live half my life in the city. Like I know people all over Greater Philadelphia, all the way down the South Jersey Shore. And it taught me that like, it's not even about like the Bricks and Wrist name. It wasn't about Copper Hill. It was about like me and Sean like getting together and like really sharing what we knew. And then also bringing in like guests that were like thoughtful, and we wanted to pull out what they knew, knowing that we knew our audience. So like for me, the greatest thing that's come from this, I mean, I've gotten plenty of business out of it. I've gotten plenty of new relationships, and those are fantastic. But for me, it proved the fact that we had something to say, and like people are listening and watching, and it's helping them. Like that was one of our 3 purposes: get more business, make more relationships, help and give back. And the help and give back has 100% been presented to me like in person, email, phone, text. Like people reach out and they're like, it's great. Like I love it, or it's helped me, or I did this and that did that. So that's been the greatest thing that's come of it.
That's great. I think personally for me, it's always been that connective tissue that this has enabled me to meet so many cool people in so many different places. And if I needed an agent down in Virginia Beach, I know I have someone to call. If I need to connect somebody in the Lehigh Valley with someone in Delaware in our company, like I can do that, right? It's grown relationships for me. It's grown my business. I get a lot of referrals out of it, but it's meeting people like the both of you.
Yeah, building relationships with people you maybe would not have built one.
I love to be around smart people who do really cool things. And that's why, obviously, I want you on the podcast today. And I do mean that sincerely, but I do think that the more that we can collaborate as an industry, as people, and share ideas, it's going to help all of us. And I guess my podcast helps me to do that for other people too. And I think that's what really, really stands out as something for me that keeps me doing this, after, 6 odd years, so I want to end there. I want to thank you both for coming on. I mean, this is home turf for you, so you were going to be here anyway. I just put a microphone in front of your face. But I really appreciate it. Much continued success with the both of you. Before we get out of here, please tell people where they can find you. Bricks and Risk, if you haven't listed yet or listened to the podcast yet, please do yourself a favor. Take a listen. Great guest. In fact, my guy, Mark Malfaro, was just on with you.
Mark.
Shout out to my buddy Mark.
Shout out to Mark.
So,
are you on his email list? I wasn't on his email list. I yelled at
his
him.
investor list?
Yeah.
I don't know if he sent me something today. I don't know if I'm on his. That's a really good question.
Sure, text him, get on.
Yeah, man. He's the man.
He's awesome.
So anyway, I do want to leave it there, but let's talk about where people can find you.
Yeah, for me, timgarrityteam.com is the best because you'll be able to find all my social media, email, cell phone, Bricks and Risk. I have a blog. That's where you can learn all about me.
Sean?
Instagram at Sean.Mooney, Moonee.
All right.
Bricksandwrist.com.
Thank you.
And then LinkedIn, YouTube, everything you can find.
I mean, if you haven't seen their logo, you must be not paying attention to the internet because literally they are everywhere. I'm going to end on this story. And they've heard this. I was due to come on Tim and Sean's podcast a few months ago, and it was the wintertime. It was during the triple play season in December.
Yep.
And we're down in Atlantic City, and someone put together a dinner for us. Shout out to my girl, Lisa Wright, put together a dinner for everybody at Angelo's. And we have a dedicated floor where we're going to be eating.
So great.
And we go into this reserved area, and there's a bunch of Bricks and Risks business cards.
That's the best.
All over the tables. And I said to Tim, I thought someone was trolling me. I thought, what?
Yeah, we didn't even do it.
I'm telling you, they have people working on their behalf, guerrilla marketing.
We ambassadors.
Sean was telling me before we came on about stickers that he's putting all over, Butler Ave and Ambler.
Yep.
I'm like, these guys are absolutely crazy, but they do it the right way. So if there's ever a template to follow, it's these two guys at Bricks and Risk. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. And
thanks, Jay.
Yeah,
Appreciate
looking forward to connecting again soon.
Appreciate
Awesome.
it, Jay. Thank you.
All right, man.